1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, rock. We're going to rock around.
Our guest, once again, is Trevor King, entrepreneur supreme. And we're continuing, Cecile and myself, talking to Trevor where we left off last week. And I think we were talking about the Wakefield brothers from New Brighton and those enterprising musicians that all came from out east in the majority of times.
Yes, Dion was another North Beach boy.
Yes.
A lot of them came out from that side of town. Tommy Carr, fostered a lot of young people at that side of town.
He did a great job with young people, Tommy Carr.
Yes,
George Williams,
smile.
George Williams?
Yes, he was a great entertainer attached to Tommy Carr, his band. Yes.
I'm just thinking way back to those early years, and there were some other men too, Nicholson and all those men.
Nick Nicholson?
Remember, they were in
Would you remember
jazz.
Pat Neho?
I do
Of the Saints?
Yes.
He used to play in the Saints band.
That's right.
And he
There
was
were
quite
several
good.
good bands in Christchurch, wasn't there?
Yes.
You know.
Well, that's why I say that we feel, most of the entertainers I've been speaking to and Cecile, all feel that if it hadn't been for you being there, giving them the encouragement and the opportunities, Christchurch wouldn't have had all these rock stars that we've had.
That's right. We had more than the other towns.
No doubt.
Yes, and of
yes.
course, with Max and Ray and Dinah, they were the ones who went off and had their first international hits.
Yes,
that's
right.
They were the first ones in Australia to have these
They
big
were.
national
Yes,
hits.
that's true.
So they've certainly had this opportunity, and I hear these young ones talking on the Idol, the New Zealand Idol, and they talk about how their grandmothers say that there was lots of opportunity in the early times that they don't have, and that's a shame, isn't it?
No.
We were so lucky to be born into the beginning of it.
Well, that's right, yes.
The electronics, the electric guitars were started up in that late 50s. The electric microphones and amplifiers just started.
That's right.
T-chest basses. Remember playing the old bass with a T-chest? Everybody in those today? They got an old what was those big T-box?
Yes.
Yes.
You put the string up the top and a pole on it, and that
That's
was your
right.
bass.
Yes. Well, there were so many, wasn't there?
Yes.
And I suppose, they're all over, some of them are overseas now doing well for themselves.
Looking back over those years, Trevor, what's the things that come to mind?
I think that jamboree at the King Edward Barracks will always be a memory for me, because it was a bit of a reunion of the bands and all the young people and the rock and roll dancers.
Yes.
There were so many dance groups around.
Yes, well, we're hoping to do the same, but I'm looking around at all these wonderful photographs, and I see Cliff Richards there. We're hoping to introduce a Cliff Richards. It won't be the Cliff Richard. I'm not allowed to say Richards. I've been told off twice. Right. Yes.
Well, there was always several, like Elvis, impersonators of Cliff Richards, but there was only one Cliff Richards. And Kerry Jodian had him at the Majestic Theatre, and I toured with him afterwards.
How did you find him, Trevor?
Find him a very good fella. I still get the odd postcard from him, and he's still touring in England.
He's doing very well still. Yes.
He always had a good show, and he brought the trumpet man out with him, Eddie Calvert.
Oh, he was wonderful.
Good.
Yes.
The golden trumpet, they used to call him.
Yes, he did. And he came back again with Vera Lynn, and we were on the tour. I always remember the episode of Vera Lynn. She played Palmerston North, and her manager came around to make sure the hotel was okay, and the hotel was a little bit old-fashioned atmosphere like the Clarendon.
Yes.
And he said, I don't think Vera will be staying here. And our manager said, well, the Queen stayed here, sir, and if it's good enough for the Queen, it'll be good enough for Vera. And Vera thought that was a very good joke. Yes, she was a wonderful person.
Well said.
Yes.
Well said.
Yes.
I see that Howard Morrison and his quartet are on the wall there.
Yes, well, that was one of my early tours when I went with them on the first tour with Kerry Jodian. And we thought it was only going to go for 3 weeks, and it went for 7 weeks.
Wow.
a tour in New Zealand with the whole group. And we went from Invercargill to Whangarei and packed houses everywhere. It was a wonderful tour, and Howard has never looked back since then. I've been with him a couple of tours while he's been solo, and he still left a good name.
Yes.
The Howard Morrison Quartet.
And they've been touring just recently through New Zealand, Howard Morrison Quartet, I think some of the members, and Tony Williams was with them.
Yes, that's right. Tony took the place of one of the other fellas in the show. I think Noel King, he passed on, but he was one of the good entertainers. Another man I was with 3 or 4 tours, was very popular, was John Rolls.
Yes.
As you can see his photographs there on the wall. He's in Auckland at present.
Is he?
Yes. And John left a good name through New Zealand.
He did very well, didn't he? He had a lovely voice.
Oh, a lovely voice. Been going for 30 years on the tours.
Goodness. It's
And,
Cheryl
living-
Moana Marie, his sister.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Ah, yes, left a good name. And a good mixer. He used to go to a lot of rest homes and hospitals singing.
Did you remember the Joe Brown talent quest? Were you involved in any of that?
Which one was
Joe
that?
Brown?
Oh, yes, yes. Well, I was still living in Christchurch, and Joe Brown wrote to me and said, we'd like you to come to Dunedin and help us run the... Joe Brown was running a nationwide one, which was a big job to organise. And I don't
It was
think
very popular, wasn't it?
Oh, very popular from auditioning people. So there was myself and George Tollerton. He had that radio show, Chuckles with Jerry. Do you remember that, Dion?
Oh, no, I
But
don't.
Might have been
before our
before
time.
time, because you were a young man. And the Chuckles with Jerry, and George flew down to Dunedin, and I went there, and I stayed with Joe Brown for 7 months,
Wow.
helping that tour. We
That's a long
auditioned
tour.
a lot of people from Whangarei to Invercargill.
And
And,
what was the talent like in those days?
Oh, the talent was good. I came from Masterton, Palmerston North, all kinds of, from jugglers to cowboy singers, and it was a wonderful experience for me to go through New Zealand auditioning the talent. And it's good to see that New Zealand has so many talented artists,
And
like
you've
the
been
Wakefield brothers.
You've been recognised for all the work you've done, haven't you?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yes. Well, we toured the artists, the winners of the main talent quest, which was in the Dunedin Town Hall.
You got a Queen's Service Medal or something, was it, Trevor? What was that again?
Yes, that's it up there on the wall.
Oh, it's
with
wonderful.
Yes. Yes, I got a letter from Mr. Bolger to say to come to Parliament House, and they did the honours there. And I got a Queen's Medal for helping with the entertainment in New Zealand,
And you deserved it.
Well deserved.
Well
which
deserved.
was wonderful, wonderful.
Enjoyed the occasion, did you?
Yes, that's right, yes,
And what was Jim like?
yes. And we had a lot of Maori entertainers too. That I can think of one particular man in Christchurch who's passed on, Charlie Barrett.
Voice of the
Voice
South Pacific.
Charles
Yes.
Carnell.
Charles Hakana.
Charles Hakana. You
He had
remember
a
the name?
wonderful voice.
Yes, he used to go over to the Hawaii occasionally, and he was well known in Christchurch for charity concerts.
Yes, he used to come up the Copper Cat quite
That's right.
often. Yes.
He did, yes, he would, yes.
Yes.
Yes, he was a good asset for the talent quest, and he went down to Joe Brown's as a guest artist.
Right. It's really interesting that we keep finding all these wonderful voices, and all the musicians in such a small area. And it's been such a long journey, 50 years. It's worth celebrating, isn't it?
Yes, well, there's so many entertainers that should have gone overseas, but I don't think they want to leave their hometown, you know.
Yes, that was a pretty strong pull, wasn't it? And most people didn't want to leave. They would rather be a little fish in a small pool than a bigger fish in a big pool.
Yes, and I think some of them had family problems, that they wanted to stay with their family.
You had a friendship with the Seekers.
Oh, yes, that's right. That was
That's
I was
Judy
with
Durham and all of those, isn't it? Judy
Yes.
Durham? Yes.
Well, Judith left the Seekers for a while and came on her own. And I wondered how she would go, but they were packed houses. She was one of the main cause of the Seekers. But we did 3 tours with the Seekers. They did all the...
In good houses all the time, Trevor?
Good houses, yes. They could come back any time. Kiritikanua, we went on the first tour of New Zealand. Took her out. Sir Robert signed her up for a tour, and they asked for me to go with her. So that was a wonderful tour.
She'd be quite young then?
She was quite... I met Sister Leo Mary. She was the one that trained her.
Yes.
She was quite young there.
Sister Leo actually trained a lot of really good singers, didn't she?
Yes, she did. Oh, yes, wonderful.
Yes. I see on your wall here you've got the New Zealand Entertainment Operators Association Merit Award. What was that for?
That was for entertainment.
Again?
Helping with the entertainment, yes.
Well, that's wonderful.
You haven't got much room on your walls for anything more. There's so many...
that's why I'm trying to find a space for your picture, Dion. I did like that picture that you gave me, and I'll have to rearrange my photos, do it this weekend, to put yours in, because you've done so well for yourself.
Oh, thank you, Trevor. I think you're going to have to sort of make some additional walls here, mate.
Yes,
You've
I can see that.
Much.
I'll have to put an addition on my flat.
It's a real history. You've got some fighters up there. You've got all these top artists and top entertainers. You've got some...
Yes.
They go back over the years. It's quite wonderful. It's a real...
I see a couple of Elvis. Did you ever get to see him?
I saw him at a convention in Australia. He never came to New Zealand or even toured Australia, but they had the record company put on a big welcome for him in Australia. And I met him just for a few moments.
So again, he'd be fairly young then too, wouldn't he, in those days? Yes,
that's right. I went to his concert just recently. They had a big screening of his film in the town hall. It was very good. Westpac.
Westpac. We went to that too, Trevor. We went with a sort of an idea, this is odd, we're going to see a dead star. But when we came out, we were firmly told by the Elvis Club that Elvis is not dead. He was still there on the screen.
Yes.
Wasn't it wonderful how
you were
they...
at the concert, were you?
Yes, wasn't it wonderful how they interacted with the band?
It was
and
a
that
wonderful
big...
presentation.
Yes.
What I found was great was that they'd have Elvis's guitarist who'd been with them 30 years in his present state on one screen, playing there down below, and 30 years... The picture on the other screen from 30 years ago of the same man 30 years younger was playing, and that was just tremendous to see the young man then playing the same song, and here's the older man now 30 years later playing the same song. That was tremendous.
Oh, it was. It was a great night that night, wasn't
it? Tremendous power of a star that people can generate such huge living out of. He's been dead for such a long time, and here they still are working with him on a daily basis.
Yes, it was a wonderful band.
Yes, we were very impressed. It was a good show and everybody was happy, and that's the main thing, isn't it?
They were, yes.
Did you ever get to see Muhammad Ali?
Yes. That photograph there on the wall, he actually signed. I think the signature's starting to fade a bit, but I was in New York and I heard that he was there at the gym, and I went down to the gym and they had security men on the door because he has so many people. Yep. And but the man arranged to let me in, and I met him just for a few moments, and he signed that photograph.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
That must have been an experience for you.
It was a wonderful experience, because I was always a fan of his. Got all his posters and photographs. So I got a great collection. Yes.
The greatest.
Yes.
You've got a great collection, full stop, of everything.
I have. I've got 2,000 posters altogether.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes. And photographs. I've got albums and albums of photographs. And there's no room on the wall, as Dion says.
I hope that you might share with the city of Christchurch when we put up our memory lane at the festival. These posters would make a wonderful display for people.
Yes, it would do.
Yes. I'm hoping that you will be able to do that for us.
I'm going to donate all my publicity when I pass on to the Turnbull Library.
How wonderful.
In Wellington. I've already written to them, and they're sending a man down to collect them one day.
He'll have to take several trucks, wouldn't he?
Well, I think there'll be a few there to go, yes.
For those of you who've just joined us, you're listening to Trevor King, and Trevor is reminiscing of his many years in the entertainment. And it really, although there was always been entertainment in New Zealand, there was this kind of upsurge in the 50s, 60s, and from then on it's built, hasn't it?
That's right, yes. I've got pleasant memories of the tours. I'd go again, but I'm getting older now, and I think I'd like to stay around Christchurch. But I'm looking forward to your jamboree, because I'll meet so many of the artists that I met in the early days.
And they'll be looking forward to meeting you, Trevor.
Yes, I hope they will.
Yes.
Because most of them used to come to my theatre. You know, having managed many theatres around Cathedral Square, they were coming there when they were younger, and it's nice to meet them later.
I want to thank you very much for sharing with us, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to come back again.
Thanks very much, Cecilia and Dion. I really look forward to your visit.
Thank you, Trevor. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and also as a friend, it's been wonderful also, renewing those acquaintanceships. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
See you later, alligator.